the thing about it is that you got to open up your heart, your mind, your to accept these things, to be receptive when it happens, when it comes, when the experience comes to you. You got to be able to be that much, have the freedom to absorb the experience. My recommendation is that you have to believe that you can be inspired and have an open mind and positive thinking, and that the easiest way to be inspired is to swim with the wild dolphins. It's better than climbing a mountain or jumping over a plane in a parachute or trying to swim at the deep ocean. Folks, my name is Ashley Saunders, and this is the Tom Rowland Podcast.
I recently was able to go to Bimini, Bahamas, with my family. This was just a family trip. I had been there one time before with Into the Blue, and we filmed some nice episodes on Bimini and some other islands in the Bahamas. And I liked it so much when I was there, I was thinking, you know what, this would be a great place to bring the family back. And I was right. It was. It was fantastic. We swam with dolphins. We swam with bull sharks, or got in a cage with bull sharks. We got to go out spearfishing. We caught conch and ate them. We had conch and lobster salad. We sampled the local cuisine. I wrecked my diet and got off and ate all kinds of Bimini bread, including some Bimini bread pizza with lobster on it, which is literally probably the best pizza I've ever had in my life. There were so many good things about Bimini, and we managed to get out on the water when the weather was nice. Like most times, the weather isn't always nice. So we hit one windy day, and it was a good thing because we were all kind of tired. We'd been in the water. We had snorkeled and free dived and did all kinds of stuff. So it was a nice day. And we decided we were going to do some of the touristy things in Bimini. And so that led us to a place there called the Dolphin House. The Dolphin House is a very eclectic, one-of-a-kind place that a gentleman has been building for 26 years. And it's a work in progress. It's being built with recycled, reused materials, things he found in the dump, things he found on the beach, things that have been given to him. He says not one thing is from Home Depot. And when I say it's one of a kind, it's truly one of a kind. Some of the walls are built like waves. There is every manner of thing in there. And it's really one of the coolest places I've ever been. And it was a real pleasure to get a tour from the man who built it, Mr. Ashley Saunders. And if you're familiar with the Bahamas, you know the Saunders name. It's a prominent family in the Bahamas. Lots of Saunders. Some spell it Saunders. Some spell it Sanders. Saunders are also in Key West. And I learned a little bit of the history about the connection between Bimini and Key West when I'm talking to Ashley. But Ashley is a remarkable guy, and this inspiration all came from one day of swimming with wild dolphins. It was like lightning struck, he said. I had to ask him about it. I asked him. It was interesting because I asked him if he would mind sitting down if he knew what a podcast was. He didn't know what a podcast was. I asked him if he knew what a radio show was, and he didn't seem to really care much about a radio show. And I asked him if he would just sit down and tell his story and I could record it. And he said, well, how long is it going to take? I said, not very long, because I got to catch a plane here in just a little bit. So we had about 30 minutes to sit down. He was so kind and nice to sit down and give me all kinds of history about his own history, why he built this Dolphin House, his history with growing up around Ernest Hemingway, other people that came to Bimini, and it was just a remarkable conversation. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. This is a unique and special opportunity to sit down with someone that is a historian of Bimini, as well as just a really cool guy, an inspired artist, Ashley Saunders. All right, I'm sitting here in the Dolphin House with Ashley Saunders, the man himself. Tell me about growing up in Bimini and your family's history here.
Well, my family came to Bimini about 200 years ago. Came to salvage goods from wreck ships. We're part of the early settlers of Bimini. Call ourselves shipwreckers. But the Saunders, that's on the Saunders part of the family, because each family, as you know, got two sides. My mother's a Duncombe. Her family's part of the slaves that brought in by the British when there was a British colony. So that's on my mother's side, the Duncombe, Duncombe. But my father's side is on my Saunders, Saunders. One a very distinguished surname, and some people spell it differently than others, but we're still all of one family. Some people say Sandeis, and some say Saun. Deis. But we've been in the Bahamas, the Saunders family, since about 400 years, at least since about 1646. Came to the Bahamas with Captain William Sale from Bermuda, and Captain Sale was a former governor of Bermuda, and he had run into a lot of problems in Bermuda. So he left Bermuda with a 70 colonists and decided to sail south towards the Bahamas, and he was shipwrecked in the Bahamas. His boat is named the Sea Venture, and the 70 colonists that Captain William Sale brought from Bermuda, our family, the Saunders, was one of the colonists. So he was shipwrecked on Eleuthera. They called themselves the Eleutran Adventurers. And Eleuthera means freedom in Greek. And so they named the island Eleuthera, where they were shipwrecked. And then they had to seek shelter in a cave and temporarily. And then later on, they moved from Eleuthera to an island just north of Eleuthera, just off the coast of Eleuthera, called Harbour Island. And that's where the Saunders family really originated, in the Bahamas, from Eleuthera. And some of the relatives are still in Eleuthera. And then some left Eleuthera in about 1646 and went to Nassau, where they also helped to spread their family, the Saunders family, also in Nassau. Then, about 200 years ago, some of the Saunders in Harbour Island left Harbour Island and migrated to Key West, Florida, and then on to Bimini. So we came to Bimini from Key West. Some of the families still in Key West now, today, and some are still some are in Bimini now. But we have been in Bimini, like I said, for 200 years, and also Key West for 200 years. We part of the early settler of Key West and also Bimini.
Yeah. So my kids that were just in here taking a tour of your house here, one of them is a conch, Key West born.
Okay.
And we spent a lot of time in Key West and lived there for a long time. All three of my kids were born there. So tell me, what is this place that we just took a tour of, the Dolphin House? Well,
the Dolphin House is a place that I've been building for 26 years, since 1993, 2019, make 26 years. And inspiration for the Dolphin House all came about by me swimming with the wild dolphins in the ocean many years back. And the dolphins, you can say, touched my heart and made me an artist, and I'm building this monument in their honor. Artist actually in me was asleep, and the wild dolphins of Bimini, more than 40 of them, like I say, touched my heart and made me an artist. So this art situation been thrust upon me by the wild dolphins of Bimini. I'm not a typical artist that you find has studied art or been to university for art or worked on any artist as an apprentice or such. I'm a gifted artist, and thanks to the wild dolphins of Bimini. So actually, I'm trying to repay a debt over to the dolphins for the creativity and inspiration they give to me.
So how did that come about? When you swam with those dolphins so many years ago, you came back immediately transformed into an artist, or was it
immediately? It was it happened in seconds.
Like lightning struck.
Like lightning struck.
And what was the first thing that you created when you came back?
Well, I tried to dig a foundation to build a house.
So you knew
a monument to the wild dolphins of Bimini.
It was like a lightning strike. You said, "I'm building this monument for them."
No, I didn't. It didn't happen like that. What it is was that it changed. See, when you get it was like a what you call a spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. You know, this is something that had happened to me. That is a spiritual a quest, you could say. The dolphins, when you say touch my heart, you know what I mean? It's a transformation that happened. It is something that where you, in other words, been reborn.
Right.
This is like I'm all new again, you know? And that's what this is. This is rebirth. So you just like you've been looking at the world from a different perspective than when you went to swim with the dolphin. I mean, I came out totally transformed and saw the world differently from when I encountered the dolphins. So this is a complete opposite of when I went in there. It changes your philosophy in life when things like that happen. I'm sure other people can testify to the same thing happening to them too in other ways, not necessarily through dolphins, but people be transformed in other ways in their life. Maybe they climbed the mountain and got to the top, like when the boys climb it, probably Mount Everest, he was transformed.
Uh-huh.
Or when the first guy that ever saw the Pacific Ocean, like Balboa, when he saw the Pacific, he might have been transformed. First man to see the Pacific Ocean. And for me, it was swimming with the wild dolphins. So we got transformed in different ways. So this is a spiritual thing for me. I'm an artist, but I don't know anything about art. So if you could figure that out.
Well, I think that a lot of times you can study things at universities or study, under, a mentor or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't learn as much about whatever it is that you're studying as if you're doing it yourself with your own hands.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say in other words, too, is the fact that when I say I don't know nothing about art, yes, I do know about art because I'm putting things in the right place, and art is only pleasing to the eyes. When I say I don't know anything about art, I'm not those type of artists that can answer the question, what is art? Or because they've learned that in school and they've been taught, how to mix paint and how to apply paint and what is texture.
Mm-hmm.
And what is this and what is that? Well, I'm not that type of artist. I'm an artist who recycle objects, or I can see beauty in a particular object, and true intuition is what I rely on. Intuition and imagination and dreams. That's the kind of artist I am. I can see the art in a particular thing I pick up, like for instance a seashell or a beach glass, and see true intuition where to place it
mm-hmm.
in the structure,
mm-hmm.
where it belongs. And I know it's in the right place because when the people comment and say to me that you are an artist.
Yes.
Because when they look at everything that I do in terms of art, they can find no fault.
Right.
The critics. And so they not only that perspective, but the fact too is that people compare me. In some of my work, they say, okay, that looked like Michelangelo, or that looked like Gaudi, or this reminds me of Gaudi, or I think of Gaudi, or I think of Michelangelo when I see this particular piece. So that's the kind of artist I am. I'm being compared to some of the world's great artists.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a trained artist.
Well, what you've created here is truly amazing. And you were also saying on the tour, you were making a comment about how you were recycling things and using things differently and where all this stuff came from.
Well, that all comes through intuition too, like I say, in dreams, what the dolphins did, and of course going back to the wild dolphins, that's all a tribute to the encounter with wild dolphins, because how did not encounter with the wild dolphins? This whole artistic situation and all this, everything I'm talking about right now, the Dolphin House in particular, would have not even came into being. So I'm thanking the wild dolphins of Bimini for the creativity and inspiration that they give to me that caused me to be an artist. They touch my heart and soul and mind and my being and my intuition and imagination that caused me to be an artist. So I need to, by means of respect and honor and gratitude, I need to return the favor back to the dolphins. So this is my way of thanking them for the wonderful thing they did to me by making me an artist. And not only an artist, but making me an architect too, because I'm building a building without blueprint. And also thanking me for being an engineer too. I'm an engineer and an artist and also an architect. So these are all the tribute too from the Dolphin Encounter. It ain't just about the artwork, it's about the whole structure. I mean, you look at the building itself, it's architectural phenomena.
Yeah.
It's architectural phenomena. It's a one of a kind. And it's you wouldn't see it unless you see it. I mean, you can't even imagine it. You got to see it and experience it. You got to come in and experience this Dolphin House. It's really unique.
What I noticed right away, and you mentioned it on the tour, is that it's a mix between straight lines and curved lines like the ocean, and like some of your walls are curved like the waves of the ocean, and then you have the big buttresses of the conch shells and how you've used all the different shells and all the different materials that you've found right here on the beach. It's really quite amazing.
Yeah, and of course too, it's the amazing thing about this is that there's no blueprint. There's no payroll. I'm working to people call it labor of love. You know, I've been working there for 26 years without pay and without sponsorship and without help, really, except for the fact that I think I've been blessed, and I thank God for the good health and the strength to be able to construct a 3-story building out of concrete.
And that concrete
with a shovel, without machinery.
Yeah. And that concrete that you have constructed this out of, this is all made from conch and shells, right?
Mostly conch and shells, and also not only conch and shells, but other recycled materials left over from other jobs and building sites, and even demolished buildings and the city dump and the beach and the churches and the hotels and the resort and the private homes and so on.
How did you learn how to make your own concrete?
Well, I've been watching the old folks back in the old days making concrete out of conch shell and burning stones like limestone and also coral too to get the calcium. So I learned that from growing up. My father, in fact, was a builder, and I saw him did it too. I was his apprentice, and so I had some ideas as a young man on construction. But most of what I'm doing is common sense, really. I mean, you don't really have to go to school to be an architect, or to be an engineer, or even to be an artist. All it takes is common sense and a will to do it. And this is all about perseverance, it's all about will, and all about fate.
But so much of it also is about the inspiration that you got from the dolphins. How would your life have been different if you had not have gone swimming with the dolphins that day?
It would have been the Dolphin House wouldn't have been here, and I wouldn't have been building that as such, and I would have been going about a daily routine life as the common man on the road, on the street, probably sitting on the beach, or maybe drinking some rum and coconut water, or just passing the time away and not accomplishing much, living just day to day as the common man do.
You've built this, and you were showing me that the walls were completely solid concrete, and you mentioned the hurricanes. How many hurricanes is this?
Well, I've been in 8 hurricanes in this so far.
Which ones? Well,
I've been in over the 26 years now. 8 into 26. Actually, that's about a little over 3 years. A storm will hit every 3 years or so. But anyway, I've been in Katrina, Wilma, Jane, Ivan, Michelle, Sandy, Matthew, and Irma. There were 8 hurricanes and these hurricanes were very vicious and killers, took lives. Some of them took hundreds of lives. Some even took thousands of lives and caused billions in property damage and billions and billions. And yet the Dolphin House has survived them all without a scratch. It's built like a fort, and there's only 3 things you got to know in good construction or to become a good architect. Is that 1, a house needs to be strong. Number 2, a house needs to be useful. And number 3, a house needs to be beautiful. And once you have those 3 criteria in the back of your mind, you don't need to go to an architectural school. And they're the only 3 things I'm applying to the building of this beautiful, unique structure called the Dolphin House.
I love how you just find all these different things. I mean, there's it's hard to tell, but there's beer bottles, full-size beer bottles. There's rum bottles. And as we were walking around, you had a story for every one of these little things. You just point at something and you'd say, this was given to me by this person. I found this on the beach. This is, bamboo, probably from Cuba. When you walk around this place, is that what you just, every little thing you look at just triggers your memory of how you found it?
Everything got a story in it. I know where everything, I could point to everything in here and who brought it and where it came from. Even right down to the beer bottles. And even the little, you can say the stamps.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dolphin House comprises a gift shop, a mini museum, a showroom on the 2nd floor, an observatory on the rooftop, or the 3rd floor. And the 3rd floor has a work in progress. Actually, it's 3 stories, all solid concrete, built for hurricanes, like I say, because you'd be stupid to build a house and not make it hurricane proof. I mean,
right.
Why build a house if the storm's going to blow it down? Or if you're going to have to abandon the house to go seek shelter somewhere else, on someone other man's house. That don't make any sense. And the thing about it is that a house should also be useful. In other words, the Dolphin House is livable. It can maintain itself. It has a gift shop. It pays its own utility. It provides me with an income. It generates money from the visitors who come and leave a donation or a deposit for the tour. At the same time, it provides shelter for people who seeking shelter who are on the island during a hurricane, which we have done in the past. We've had Americans, we had Europeans and Canadians, and even Bahamians held up in here seeking shelter in hurricanes past. So that makes it very useful and purposeful. Like I say, that a good architect is all about, a good architecture.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, the Dolphin House is pleasing to the eyes. And that's what good architecture is all about. When you look at a building and you can say to yourself or to others, that is beautiful, or that is breathtaking, or that is wonderful. We run out of adjectives as far as it goes there with people.
Mm-hmm.
We keep hearing people saying it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's one of a kind, it's a must see. I mean, how much adjectives is there to use? I mean, we hear the same thing over and over and over and over the last 26 years. I've been hearing that, which is wonderful to me because it's all inspiring and gives me, since it ain't no peer rule, when somebody say to me, it's beautiful, I think that's rewarding to me, and that's like a check they just wrote to me when they say it's beautiful. That's my pay, man. And that what keeps me going on. That's a big part on my shoulder. And that's why I'm so, you could say, determined and to get the job done and to complete the project. And this, because it ain't no pay, it doesn't mean, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that of all the jobs I've had that were paying money, this is the best job I ever had that don't pay no money because I'm enjoying this. This is a fun project. I got no boss over me. There's no punch clock. There's no time limit. I can time to at any time I feel like. I don't have a boss telling me to hurry it up and that I'm taking too long and that I need to hurry it up because, I should have been finished a week ago, or anything as such. I work at my own leisure, at my own pace, and I'm on my own boss. That's why I'm doing such a wonderful job with this Dolphin House, is because of the fact that there's no punch clock and no payroll.
Well, I think what's remarkable to me is that you've maintained this intense inspiration and motivation to continue this project of love out of that one day of inspiration from the dolphin. Do you ever have to return to swim with the dolphins to get additional inspiration, or is the one time enough?
One time is enough. I don't have to go back there, but I do like to go back out there because they're my family, my friends, my loved ones are the wild dolphins. So it's always a pleasant to go back and greet them and see them and exchange love and greetings, to have them brush against me and to look in their eyes and and have fun and play and enjoy the experience of over and over again. I mean, there's no such thing as you had enough.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have to go back. It only took that one initial swim.
That's amazing.
I didn't go there, mind you, to go. It didn't never occur to me that I would go be inspired as such when I first went to swim with the wild dolphins, mind you. I didn't go there and say, I'm going to go get inspiration. I went out there for the experience, like you're going fishing or you're going to the baseball park or something. I didn't expect to be a life-changing experience for me.
So when you got back from that trip, did your family and friends, did they immediately notice the difference?
I don't know that. I never followed up on that, but I noticed in myself I could see the change, and it made a big difference, because why would I be building a monument for 26 years without pay?
Right. So part of being an artist, I noticed downstairs you also wrote 2 books on Bimini. Is that correct?
In all my lifetime, I wrote about 7 or 8 books.
Let's put this up here just a little bit.
I wrote about 7 or 8 books in my life.
So some of those are on the history of Bimini.
I wrote 2 volumes published, 1 volume in the computer on the history of Bimini. I got 3 volumes written, 2 published, 1 still in the computer.
Yeah.
But I also wrote 4 volumes of poetry. I'm also a poet. And not only just an ordinary poet, I'm a distinguished poet, an award-winning poet, and also an award-winning historian. And they called me the poet historian of the Bahamas. And actually, I'm like you could say, a jack of all trade type person who has a lot of talent. And like the Holy Bible say, if you use your talent, you will be given more talent, or your talent will be increased. And that's what the Lord said, and that's what I do. So I don't sleep on talent. I don't bury talent. I use the talent that I have, and that's why I'm so successful in the things that I achieve. As always, I've been doing things that are commendable and rewarding and universal too. I mean, I've been doing things that are pleasing to people from all walks of life and all nations.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the history of Bimini a little bit. You've seen a tremendous change in the world since you've lived here. How old are you? How old did you say you were?
Well, it's hard to say how old I am, but I've been around.
You've been around.
You can say that I've been in the days we don't keep too close a check on time, because time is sort of pretty much irrelevant. Is and we call ourselves on island time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the important thing is to try the sunrise to sunset to see how much you can accomplish in the day's time, while there's still light out, and not to worry too much about the time. Time will take care of itself.
Yeah.
We see how much we can accomplish. I've seen things, I could say, I've seen in my days in the island here, when we had to go to the well to fetch water, because there was no running water in the house. And we drink water from at room temperature in the bucket, and never knew what ice water was because there was no ice. And cooking on a wooden fire. So I did see changes over my lifetime. And of course, having to rely on the coconut for sustenance, having to catch fish to eat or to have to go find conch and living off the land and raising chickens and raising goats and pigs, growing corn and growing crops. So I've been in those days and walking barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you compare today, mind you, and going to school with a slate, which is a piece of stone,
yeah,
and writing with chalk, and no book, and I've come from that far. If you want to look at it over time,
mm-hmm.
and I'll let you figure out the time.
And what about some of the notary people that have been part of the Bimini culture, like Ernest Hemingway? I know there's a tremendous amount of history with Hemingway downstairs. You were part of that. You were here when he was frequenting.
Well, Hemingway is a part of. Hemingway is a close family member. He's a friend of our family, in other words, because a lot of Hemingway associates and people he's been around on this island so happen to be my family,
mm-hmm.
which is the Saunders. We entertained Hemingway when he was on the island in the 30s. My uncle played the banjo and used to entertain Hemingway when he came in from fishing. That's my Uncle Nat Saunders, Piccolo Pete, we call him, that played the banjo and sang a lot of songs. And in fact, he recorded one of his songs called The Big Fat Slob, which was a big hit in the 30s about the fight between Mr. Knapp, who was the writer, and Mr. Hemingway, arguing over big fish. So that's a recording on one of my CDs, and one of Piccolo's CDs called Bimini Nights, where he recorded The Big Fat Slob. Oh, the big fat slob in Bimini, this the night we have fun. Oh, the big fat slob in Bimini, this the night we got fun. Ernest Hemingway, Mr. Knapp called Ernest Hemingway a big fat slob. Ernest Hemingway balled his fist and gave him a knob. Oh, the big fat slob in Bimini, this the night we have fun. Oh, the big fat slob in Bimini, this the night we have fun. So that's his song. But then Ernest Hemingway put up $100 bill back in 1936 for anybody who could go boxing with him. He had brought some boxing gloves to Bimini in 1936, and he took ropes off the pilar and tied around a coconut tree and made a ring, a boxing ring, and put up $100 bill for any native that could go boxing with him. And two of my uncles went to box with Hemingway, and he knocked them all out, trying to get the $100 bill. Hemingway was a good boxer. Nobody really won that $100 bill. And so Hemingway had built of a heavyweight, big barrel chest and big arms, big legs. And because he was so athletic going as he grew up in America, he went on a lot of fishing trips as a young boy and a lot of hiking and hunting and all that and fishing. So he was very strong and he was in good condition. And of course, when he was a young man, he spent a lot of time boxing matches. So he had a good skill in technique on boxing. Whereas my uncles, them were pretty much green and didn't really know the skill of boxing.
Right.
But they were heavyweights just the same. It's just unfortunate that they didn't have the training, but they were brave enough and courageous enough to stand up in the ring with him. Hemingway, hats off to him for being a good boxer as well as a good fisherman and an adventurer and a hunter. Although he wasn't all that good a hunter, because he did get damaged one of his eyes in boxing as a young man, so he really couldn't see too good with one eye. He always had to wear glasses, because when he's writing, only time he didn't really wear glasses was when he was fishing, simply because of that bad eye boxing that was very, very well damaged. But anyway, he was still a good boxer. But, like I say, Hemingway, not only Ernest Hemingway, but Ernest Hemingway's family and the Saunders family has always been close. Lester Hemingway used to sleep on my mother's porch. He was the printer of the Bimini News and spent a lot of time in Bimini. And a lot of time he hiked to Bimini, catch a ride over here on some yacht. Or maybe once in a while he get a free ride on a plane. And then he didn't ever have a round-trip ticket to get back. And sometime if he didn't hike back and he got stuck here, he'd end up sleeping on my mother's porch. We always had a porch on the front porch, our couch. And that's where he would end up sleeping, in the couch on the front porch. Lester Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway's brother, wrote a book called My Brother Ernest Hemingway, and gave me a copy of the book. In fact, I gave him a copy of my book, which was at that time a poetry book that I wrote, and so we exchanged books. I got his autographed book downstairs.
Yeah. That
Lester Hemingway wrote to me. I gotta.
Yeah, we're gonna cut it off here in just a second. They'll wait for us. So let me ask you one last question before we go. If you were to give somebody some advice about how they could, I think the story that you tell about the inspiration that you got from that one day that you swam with the dolphins, I think that's what most people in this world are looking for. They're looking for that inspiration. They're looking for that experience that changes their life and gives them the motivation and inspiration. How does someone find that?
The thing about it is that you got to open up your heart, your mind, your to accept these things, to be receptive. When it happens, when it comes, when the experience comes to you, you got to be able to be that much, have the freedom to absorb the experience. My recommendation is that you have to believe that you can be inspired and have an open mind and positive thinking, and that the easiest way to be inspired is to swim with the wild dolphins. It's better than climbing a mountain or jumping over a plane in a parachute or trying to swim at the deep ocean. The dolphins are out there. They're mammals. They've been on the earth for 30 million years. We have only been as humans on the earth for a good measure 2 million years. I mean, the dolphins are at least 28 million years on the earth before us, and they have evolved in terms of evolution. They've had 28 million years to develop their brains, and in fact, they have developed sonar. So they've lived on the earth as land roaming mammals, and they've made the successful journey to the ocean and became successful ocean roaming mammals. So they have a sonar that they can send out that we don't possess sonar. The dolphins have a well-developed brain. They can send out a sonar on their brain wave and get information back, and which we lack in. They can accelerate outlook, our mind, and speed up the learning process. And that's why I recommend that you swim with the wild dolphins. Everybody on this earth should swim with the wild dolphins, and they'll become a better person. Because the dolphins, more than any other animal, more than a dog, your dog ain't gonna do it for you. Your cat ain't gonna do it for you because they don't have the sonar. They're not, you could say, evolved as such. The dog ain't live on the earth and then live in the sea, like the mammal has done, the dolphin. Remember, dolphin been on the land, mind you. He went into the sea and became a successful ocean roaming mammal. Dog ain't never done that. The dog is not evolved like that. Neither did a cat, neither did a monkey, neither any one of your pets. Your squirrel, your skunk, or whatever you got for a pet, your lizard, whatever, is not capable. And then the dolphin relate to you on a different level altogether from your pet and other pets, that is. And I'm not talking about the dolphin inside of a pen. I'm not talking about him. The dolphin inside of Disney World or SeaWorld or Atlantis, where the dolphin is being paid to swim with you and do things, tricks for you. I'm talking about the dolphin in the wild ocean, who don't know you and not being paid, is not been given a reward. He's out there in the wild where he's not captive. We don't swim with captive dolphins in Bimini. We don't keep captive dolphins. All the dolphins we swim with is in the wild, and I want you to note that I didn't go swim with a dolphin in the pen.
Mm-hmm.
I swim with dolphins in the ocean. And one of the things about swimming with a dolphin is that you get rid of your fear, what you would call your anxiety. Even if you can't swim, and if you go see a dolphin, you'll think about the fact that you can't swim. That's the kind of thing a dolphin will do to you. You will forget about a shark. You'll forget that you're afraid of water, or you're afraid of the ocean, or you're afraid of the depth. All these things you throw out the window.
I saw it happen with
and
my daughter.
A lot of things too, especially if you have a chronic depression, dolphin will get rid of that for you too. If your mind is all clogged up and you're suicidal and you're this and you're that and you got a bunch of negativism about you, it makes you all in all a greater human being. You'll become more loving, and you'll love your fellow man. And a lot of things that you have now that you think of, you value so dearly, the dolphins will tell you to throw it out the window, so they don't mean nothing. Because a lot of things we value in our life is just what society has thrust upon us, and we just trying to follow the status quo. And we want to do things that our neighbor, because we see things our neighbor have, and we want the same things that our neighbor got. We look over the fence and we want to possess them too. And the dolphins will you'll be surprised to know how many things you will flush down the drains. Things that you believe in and that you think mean so much to you. They'll touch your heart like they touch mine. You'll be a better person. And of course, a better human being. And then of course the freedom, you'll enjoy your freedom. Because that's what dolphin teaches too. About having fun. That's what they taught me. Dolphin taught me to let's go and have fun and let's play. Where have you been all the while, Mrs. Saunders? You are our family. Come along with us. And if there's any way that I could be out there with them and not come back to the land, I would still be out there with the dolphins. That's what they do to you. You want to go with them, man. You'll give up everything to try to swim along with them. But you're not capable because you're only human. You don't have the breath, you don't have the capabilities, you don't have the power to go along with them. But if you could have, I'm sure you would have.
Yeah. Well, that's an amazing story, and you that one day of inspiration sure has touched the world. You've done an incredible thing with all your writing and your poetry and building this place. And I want to thank you for sitting down with us. And if you're out there listening, man, come to the Dolphin House, check it out, and you will be as impressed as I am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.